D, wait for it, delightful.
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
What's up, nerds, and welcome to my week in review, where I come to you every Sunday with 3 entertainment stories that I personally find interesting, and then we discuss them down below. Now, also down below, you can find the articles that I read to bring you this video, and you can read them for yourself, or you can just watch this video, or I'm going to break them all down for you. Before I get started, I just want to say that if you like what I do here and you enjoy independent content here on YouTube, please consider subscribing to my channel. YouTube is always changing up their algorithm, and small channels like mine, we just keep getting shoved to the back of the line. So please ask that you like, share, and subscribe, and I thank you in advance. All right, so now that we got that business out of the way, why don't we go ahead and get started on these 3 stories. So for my first story this week, all right, you guys. So it looks like they found their Hal Jordan over at HBO Max or whatever the hell they're called, Warner Brothers. And they found Kyle Chandler. Now, I believe it was Deadline or Hollywood Reporter is confirming, but everybody else just said he's in talks. But I'm just gonna say he's playing Green Lantern, because what else is Kyle Chandler doing? You know what I'm saying? Now, I think that DC and Warner Brothers has a little bit of problem with talent. Now, they went for Josh Brolin. I'd done the story. They went for Josh Brolin, and he turned it down, which I have to be honest, I thought Josh Brolin was fine. I think Kyle Chandler is fine, but I think that they do have a problem with getting like A-list celebrities. I mean, I don't know if there's any really like A-listers left anymore, but maybe Brad Pitt is one. But so they have a little bit of a difficulty getting talent in terms of, you know, prestige actors and actresses. But I don't think that this show really needs that kind of stuff, because I'll be honest with you, like they said, they're doing this story True Detective style. And if you watch True Detective, you have some really, really good actors. But I think that Kyle Chandler has, you know, proven himself in terms of certain things. Now, a lot of people may remember him on Saturday Night Lights or Friday Night Lights. Sorry about that. But he's been in a lot of good movies, you know. He was in Argo, and I didn't like Super 8, but he was in Super 8. He had he was in Game Night, I loved Game Night. That was great. And he's been recently in the Godzilla King of Monsters, which I liked, and then Godzilla versus Kong movie. So he's done a lot of different stuff. He's done shows, he's done movies, all this stuff. So it's not like he's not got, you know, it's not like he's not done anything, you know. So I think that he's proven himself. Now, is he right for this role where they're going for an older Hal Jordan? And I think that any actor who's older might do the trick. And I think that Kyle Chandler will be, at least at minimum, a decent Hal Jordan. But the thing is, I honestly do think that what they're doing here is they're going to be making him the villain. Okay, so the story for this one is for Lanterns is that Hal Jordan and John Stewart, they're doing a True Detective style where, you know, Hal Jordan is the older Green Lantern detective and John Stewart is the younger Green Lantern detective. And there is a murder on Earth, and they come to Earth because that's his district, and they come to Earth to solve it. Now, I do think that they are going to turn Hal Jordan into the villain by the end of this, and then John Stewart will join the Justice League that they're going to be creating over at Warner Brothers, the new Justice League. This is the thing. Now, I do think that bringing John Stewart in is good. I grew up with John Stewart in terms of watching him on the Justice League animated show. Love that show. I love the Superman show, animated show. I love Batman, the animated show. But I also have a special place for Hal Jordan. Hal Jordan is definitely my favorite Green Lantern in terms of just because I think that his origin story is the best origin story personally. And I just think he's got like, you know, they had recently an animated, well, not recently, I think it was like 2018. I don't remember. Or 2016, I think it was. I don't remember off the top of my head. But they had a Hal Jordan Green Lantern animated show that was actually pretty good. In fact, it was really good. I enjoyed it immensely. It came out at the same time as Young Justice season 1, but it got canceled because they couldn't sell the toys or sell toys for it. And you know, it's all about the toys. You know what I'm saying? But the toys were crap. So I think that the story is great. Like I've said it before, I'll say it again. out of everything that was announced for phase 1, Gods and Monsters for DC, I thought that this was the project that I personally was most excited about. I mean, I'm excited for the Superman movie, and I'm interested in seeing Creature Commandos and all that stuff. But this was the project that I was most excited about. And I think that if they really put it together, I think it together well, like a True Detective show. I think it could do really, really good. Except True Detective season 2 was trash. Okay, so now this is the thing. Does Green Lantern have enough fans? Does Kyle Chandler have enough fans for this? I don't know, man. Like, I like Green Lantern, but a lot of people don't read Green Lantern. I mean, most people know Darkest Night, and that's probably the best Green Lantern story. But it was really, really good. It was followed up by Brightest Day. Not that great, not as good as Blackest Night. That was just the best. It was the best. So, but I think that I don't know if there's enough fans for this in terms of that, but I do think that people will watch it, because it's as long as it looks good. You got to use a lot of the little structures and everything. And you can't cheap out when it comes to those visual effects. I say you're gonna do this, do it right. You know what I'm saying? So now back to John Stewart, which I'm going to do a story about that, but they are in the midst of casting that. And it will make a difference as to who they cast as John Stewart. I think that that person has to have good chemistry with Kyle Chandler. And I think that, I mean, granted, they could not have chemistry offset and still be good together on screen in terms of like buddy. I mean, we've heard that stuff before where actors, they'll act with somebody, but they can't stand them. So we'll see how this turns out. Like I said before, I am excited for this show. It's the thing I'm most looking forward to from new DC, the James, the Gunverse. So let's see how this turns out, and if it turns out great. If it doesn't, bummer. You know what I'm saying? All right, you guys. So that was my first story of the week. So for my second story of the week. All right, you guys. So it looks like they've cast the villain this week for the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow series or movie. Now, Millie Elcott is playing Supergirl, and which is great. Now, it's based off of the comic book written by Tom King. Now, I will admit the comic book wasn't that bad. But we'll talk about that in just a second. But this is Matthias Schoenaerts. I think that's how you say his last name. I don't know, but whatever. And this is this guy here. Now, you may not know who Matthias Schoenaerts is because he's one of those guys, like you've seen him, but you're like, what has he been in? And the first thing I saw him in was Rust and Bone, which I thought he did a great job. And then I saw him in a movie that he had done before that called Bullhead, which also he did a good job. So then he's also been in a lot of the movies that you might know him from lately are Red Sparrow. He was in that. And then he was recently in The Old Guard on Netflix with Charlize Theron. And he's been some other things recently, but like that movie Amsterdam, but I didn't see that movie. So, whatever. So, but he's been in stuff, but nothing. I think that Red Sparrow and Old Guard would be the things that you might know him from and everything. I mean, he's not a bad actor. It's just when you look at him, like you're looking at this picture right here and you're like, I've seen him before, but I don't remember what he was in. Okay. So he is playing the villain of it. And he's playing this guy right here. I'm going to pop him up. His name is Clem. Okay. Now the story of Supergirl is that Supergirl, she helps this young girl get revenge on a group of men that killed her family. And they go, it's like, they're skipping across the galaxy, hunting down these men that killed her family. And it's very female centric, which is not bad. Let me pull up this article real quick so I can show it to you guys. I'll leave the link in the description down below, but it's very bloody, like there's swords and stuff. And so Clem basically, and he shows up at like I think the last part of it. I think it's like I want to say it's like a 10 issue comic. And I think he shows up in issue 8, or you hear about the story on issue 8. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's been a while. I have to pull it out. Anyways, so he plays Clem and he's basically just like the bad guy. And one thing that I saw somebody bring up that I was just like, that's a great comparison, is that Clem reminds me a lot of Chris Hemsworth's character in Furiosa. And I was like, man, that's a great comparison because it's pretty much the same thing. And I was like, I don't know if this guy can pull what Chris Hemsworth did in Furiosa, because he was my favorite character. Love that character. But we'll see how this works out. My biggest thing is how female centric will this be? Are we talking Birds of Prey female centric, where it's like you go in, the story sucks, everything about it sucks, and nobody wants to see that shit? Is it like the Marvels, where it sucks and the story sucks and nobody's interested in that shit? Because if it's like that, I say don't do it. If it's like the comic book where you've got this Kill Bill-esque, where you've got blood flying everywhere and you've got, they won't do that because it's a Supergirl movie. But I'm just saying, like, try to get as close to the comic book as possible without doing it, verbatim, because nobody likes that. It's proven that people get a little bit annoyed when you copy a movie page by page, from the comic book. But go off it as much as possible, so that way we can get an authentic, spirit of the comic book adaptation, and it's good. Because I'm telling you right now, if this thing sucks, I'm just gonna be like, what's the point of watching this movie? It's no good. You know what I'm saying? So, will Matthias Schoenaerts be good? I mean, I don't know. He's played the villain before, so he'll probably be fine. I'm not really like, a huge Matthias Schoenaerts fan, but at the same time, I'm not a hater either. So, but I am interested in seeing how he pulls this off and how this movie comes together. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see how this does. All right, you guys. So that was my second story of the week. So for my third and final story this week. All right, you guys. So they have their short list to play John Stewart in the Lanterns TV series on Max and everything. And I just did this story about them casting Hal Jordan. And they cast Kyle Chandler, which is, fine, whatever. It's like, it is what it is. And so now we've got these two gentlemen right here, and we're going to talk about that. Let me pull up this article real quick from the Hollywood Reporter. Now, who are these people? So we have Pierre and Stephan James. Okay. And we'll just talk about them in just a little bit. Let's talk about Stephan James first, because I feel like he's the one that's less known. Okay. So Stephan James has been in some movies, but I have to be honest with you. I haven't seen any of the movies that he's been in, and if I have, I do not remember him. But I would think that most people might know him from If Beale Street Could Talk, or Beale Street, I don't know, which was by Ryan Coogler from Black Panther. And I never saw that movie, but, a lot of people say it's good. So he also was in Selma. I also didn't see Selma, but people tell me it was good. Great. As far as everything else goes, I don't remember seeing him in fact, I can tell you right now, I've never seen a movie that he was in. I never saw 21 Bridges. I never saw, Babes. I never saw any of that crap. So I don't know what he's like. Now let's switch over to Pierre, because this seems to be a lot of people's favorite for the movie or the TV show to pick for John Stewart. Now, is this a good choice for John Stewart? That part, I don't know if it's a good choice for John Stewart, but we will see. Now, he has recently been in Rebel Ridge on Netflix. And let me just tell you right now, I saw that movie on Netflix, Rebel Ridge, and it is good. And he does a great job in it. It's very action-packed. If you're interested in that kind of thing, then you'll like that movie. But it's very good. But he's been in other things also. He was in Old, the M. Night Shyamalan movie, which I thought he did a great job in that movie. I really liked his performance. He was that rapper. I can't remember what his rapper name was in that movie. Sorry, I should have looked it up. But then he was also in Krypton. I forgot he was in Krypton. Now, I personally liked the movie Krypton. I thought it was very good, but it got canceled after 2 seasons. I think it was just because the viewership was just so bad. But he had a smaller role. He wasn't the main guy, but his role he was good in. So I think that maybe he might be the right choice. But a lot of people might think, because if you remember correctly, he was supposed to be in Blade as the bad guy. There was rumors that he was Brother Voodoo. And if he was Brother Voodoo, that was great casting also, because again, I think that he is talented. But I did see people saying he shouldn't take it because they can't get talent. And I talk about this when I talk about casting of Hal Jordan. They can't really get, these prestige actors like they would in the True Detective shows. For instance, they got, Matthew McConaughey in that first season. and he's great. Along with Woody Harrelson. I mean, I don't know if Woody Harrelson is a prestige actor, but I like him. And then and recently they got Jodie Foster, so it just makes me go, can they, does DC have a problem with casting these prestige actors? And, is that going to hurt them if they cast these, these like John, Aaron Pierre, who's good, but he really is like, when you think of prestige, you don't think Aaron Pierre. Let's just be honest. And I just go, but at the same time, I go, let's see how this turns out. Because again, I've said it before, I'll say it again. When they announced all of the phase 1 Gods and Monsters projects, Lanterns was the one I was most excited about. And I do want to see where they go from here. And I do think that this will be, and I do think that John Stewart will be the Green Lantern that will end up in the Justice League at the end of the day. And it'll be interesting to see what they do here and where they go here. Just do the green archetypes. What are they called? Shoot, I can't remember what they're called off the top of my head either. Brain fart. But don't skimp out on the money. The budget needs to be big so you can do these big, like, these little green grabby thingies. It'll be great and everything. All right, you guys. So those are my 3 stories this week. Tell me, what do you guys think about all of this? Tell me, how do you feel about Kyle Chandler being the new Hal Jordan for the DCU or the Gunverse? Do you think this was a good choice, or do you think this was just bottom of the barrel? They're just like scraping so hard. They're like, we need to find an actor for this ASAP because we need to start, getting stuff ready. Or do you think this was a great choice to pick Kyle Chandler? I mean, I think it's fine. It's fine as long as he does a good job and the script is good. I'll be fine with it. So we'll see how this turns out. But again, I am excited for this show. Also, tell me, how do you guys feel about Matthias Schoenaerts being cast as the villain in Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow? Do you think this is good? Did you read the comic, and what did you think about the comic? Do you think this is good? This is good casting because the villain in that story was just so like, it was big, but at the same time, it really wasn't that big. Like, you're just like, oh, this is the guy, no superpowers, nothing, just a random, bad guy in the universe. But how do you feel about Matthias Schoenaerts? You may be a huge Matthias Schoenaerts fan, and I don't dislike him. It's just, it's Matthias Schoenaerts. Some people will be like, who? Matthias what? So, but we will see how this turns out. And I will be seeing it when it does come out. And then finally, tell me, how do you guys feel about Aaron Pierre and Stephan James being on the short list for John Stewart? Do you think this is a good choice, bad choice? Who do you think they should pick for John Stewart if one of these two, or if not one of these two, who do you think they should pick to play John Stewart? And do you think that DC and Warner Brothers has a problem with casting, people, prestige actors? I keep using that term, but I think that's what it is. But do you think they have a problem with casting over there and not being able to get talent? But that's all I got for you guys this week. Tell me what you guys think about all of this. You can go ahead and leave all your comments in that section down below. If you like this video, go and hit that like button. I won't mind. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. And I will see you guys on my next week in review. You guys have a good week. Bye. Hey nerds, if you like this video, go ahead and click that Geek What icon and subscribe. And if you like this video, go ahead and join me every Sunday with my Week in Review.